Every country has a dish that feels like home. In Japan, that dish is Nikujaga. Tender meat and potatoes simmered in a sweet-savory dashi broth are so comforting. One bowl says everything words cannot. If you'd like a printable version of this recipe to keep in your kitchen, just Google Nikujaga Sudachi to find it. First, peel 300 grams of waxy potatoes. What I have today is a Japanese variety called May Queen, but of course use any waxy varieties you can get in your area, like Yukon Gold. Drop them whole into a bowl of cold water. We'll cut them into 3 cm chunks right before they go into the pot. Keeping them whole for now prevents too much starch from leaching out into the soaking water. Next, roughly cut 150 grams of carrot into pieces no thicker than 2 cm and slice 150 grams of onion into 1.5 to 2 cm wedges. Then take 200 grams of thinly sliced pork belly and cut it into pie-sized pieces, roughly 5 cm wide. Pork belly is the most forgiving choice for this dish. The extra fat keeps the meat tender and melts into the broth with a gentle sweetness that ties everything together. Pork shoulder slices work as a lean alternative, and you can go Kansai style with thinly sliced beef. In that case, shaved steak sold for cheesesteaks is actually a great Northwest substitute. Quick note on equipment. My recipe was developed using a 30 cm carbon steel wok. Unconventional for a Japanese stew, sure, but the curved base and tall walls make searing, tossing and simmering all surprisingly easy. An enameled Dutch oven or a heavy bottom saute pan with tall sides works just as well, just avoid anything too narrow or shallow. Alright, everything's prepped, let's cook. Set your pot over medium heat and add 1 teaspoon of neutral cooking oil. When the oil shimmers, lay the pork slices in a single layer. Let the meat sit completely undisturbed for about a minute per side. You're looking for golden brown edges and unmistakable toasty savory smell. Searing also renders out some of the pork belly's fat and becomes a cooking medium for the vegetables. Now, this searing step is actually optional in some Japanese households, but I think the difference in depth of flavor is real. In the same pot, using the beautiful rendered pork fat left behind, add the onion wedges, stir them gently over medium heat until the edges soften and begin to turn a light golden color, about 2 to 3 minutes. Once the onions are looking good, drain the potatoes and cut them into thirds or quarters, those 3 cm chunks we talked about. Add them to the pot along with the carrots and give the pot a few gentle shakes, just enough to coat everything in a thin film of that pork fat. Now, here is a quick note on potato prep. There's a traditional Japanese technique called Mentori, where you use a knife or peeler to gently round off the sharp edges of each potato chunk. The idea is that those corners are the first to crumble during simmering, releasing starch that clouds the broth and can turn the whole pot into mashed potato territory. If you want to go proper, do it, but honestly I don't bother too much for Nikujaga. I actually like some bits of potato dissolving into the broth. It creates a nice textural difference and gives the sauce a bit of rustic body. Pour in 450 ml of dashi stock. Homemade dashi made from bonito flakes and kombu is wonderful here, but teabag style dashi packets are a great next best option. Instant granulated dashi like hondashi works too, but keep in mind it contains added salt and other flavor boosters. Dashi is what makes this broth taste clean and deeply satisfying rather than just salty sweet. It's the backbone. Raise the heat and bring the liquid toward a gentle, almost boil. Wash the surface carefully. You want a soft rolling movement where small bubbles rise lazily around the edges, roughly 90 to 95 degrees Celsius. The moment you see large aggressive bubbles, back the heat down immediately. Now add 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar and 3 tablespoons of sake. I like using light brown sugar, but of course white sugar or raw sugar will work too. And the sake adds depth and a gentle aromatic layer to the broth as it simmers. Next, place an Otoshibuta, a droplet, directly on the surface of the simmering liquid. This little tool is doing 4 things at once. It keeps ingredients gently submerged so they season evenly. It reduces the violence of convection currents. It controls the evaporation rate, and it helps trap aromas in the broth. You've got options. Parchment paper is easy to cut size, and research has shown it gives the most even seasoning penetration. A wooden droplet delivers excellent tenderness but can cause more breakage. Aluminium foil, stainless steel, and silicone lids all work too. For today, I've got a homemade parchment paper droplet ready to go. I made this one ahead of time. If you want to see how to make your own, check out my separate how-to video. Now we simmer for 15 minutes until a skewer slides into the potatoes easily, but the edges still hold their shape. While the potatoes simmer, let's put the waiting time to work. If you're using Shirataki, that's 100 grams of konjac noodles. Bring a small separate pot of water to a vigorous boil and blanch them for 2 to 3 minutes, then drain and rinse. This removes the natural odor that comes straight out of the package. Shirataki are completely optional, but they are a traditional addition and they give each bite a fun, springy, chewy contrast against the soft potatoes. If you can get them, they're worth tossing in. Alright, 15 minutes are up. Remove the droplet. Now add 3 tablespoons of mirin, 2 tablespoons of Japanese soy sauce, the blanched shirataki noodles, and the seared pork belly from earlier. Resist the urge to stir, I know it's tempting. Instead, tilt the pot gently forward and back a few times, rocking the liquid so the soy sauce disperses across the surface and trickles down around the ingredients. This protects your now tender potatoes from the force of a spatula while still distributing seasonings throughout. Place the droplet back on the surface and simmer for another 2 to 3 minutes. And why are we adding the soy sauce this late? Soy sauce salt component penetrates food faster than sugar does. If it goes in too early, the potato surfaces tighten up before the sweetness has had time to fully diffuse inward. Turn off the heat. Now if time allows, and I highly recommend this, let the pot sit covered until it comes to room temperature. Seasoning keeps diffusing into each piece, drawing the rest, and the potato starch firms up for a better bite on reheat. Once it gets to room temperature, store it in the fridge with the lid on. A perfect meal prep option, right? When you're ready to serve, bring the pot back to a gentle simmer over medium heat. Remove the droplet for the last time. Now, using a ladle, scoop up the simmering broth and gently pour it over the exposed tops of the vegetables, basically basting them. Now, add another 1 tablespoon of soy sauce as a finishing seasoning and rock the pot gently to distribute. Let it simmer uncovered for another 2 to 3 minutes, watching the liquid reduce and thicken slightly. And now taste the broth. Trust your palate here. If it's a touch flat, a small splash of more soy sauce will sharpen everything up. If it feels too salty, a tiny pinch of sugar can soften the edge. This is your dish. Almost there. Blanch 8 to 10 snow peas, string removed, in boiling water for just 1 minute to keep them bright green. Chill them in cold water, then slice. Snap peas are a fine substitute if you can't find snow peas. Ladle the Nikujaga into deep bowls, arranging the meat and vegetables so you can see the variety of shapes and colors. Scatter those bright green snow pea slices over the top. The pop of color against the golden brown broth is beautiful. And there you have it, my version of Nikujaga. Sweet-savory shoyu backbone layered over clean dashi umami, mellow onion sweetness, rich rendered pork fat, and potatoes that are seasoned all the way through. Want even more delicious recipes? Grab my free cookbook from the link in the description. Okay, let's go over the ingredients one more time. And if you're ready to cook, grab the written instructions by clicking the full recipe box with a picture that's about to pop up on your screen. That's a wrap. You can find a full printable version of this recipe on my website, linked right here on the screen. It has all the extra details to help you get it perfect every time. If you enjoyed this, check out my classic playlist. And next week I'm making soup curry. Please subscribe so you don't miss it. See you then.